What we do here is go back.
Right, I've started now. See if it's transport the output. See if it's on. Yeah. That is playing.
Big down.
What we do here is go back.
Right, let's see if this and potentially that is working. Oh no, it zoomed right in, Kath. Oh dear.
Go on a diet.
Is it still focused? Oh, we are absolutely rubbish at what we do here. It's not as if I've got a tech channel or anything that I should know how to do all this stuff. Is that looking okay? What the hell, it's fine. Might be a little bit dark. Now, I have set up the streaming PC today yet again. So if there's any issues with sound or visuals or anything like that, then please let us know in the comments section. I'm going to quickly scan through to see what is going up. Yeah, testing. How's the audio? Is the audio coming through okay? I have no idea. It's very difficult to test live streaming because it's not necessarily live. No, that seems to be working all right. So yeah, that seems to be coming okay. How is the Ordinary Dude says sounds good here. Thank you very much, Ordinary Dude. The picture quality is superior today, crisper. Yeah, that's interesting. I've actually upped the output to, I don't know, what is it, 20 megabytes. So we might lose a couple of frames here and there, but it actually seems okay at the moment. Don't appear to have dropped any frames. We are actually streaming on the new Intel rig. Finally, after how many years of avoiding it, finally we have got an Intel video streaming rig. There's a very, very long and convoluted story of why this is actually a thing. But yes, it's been a very, very fraught week. There's been so many issues. It's not even funny. Normally, when it comes to a SAS day, I've got a reasonable idea of what I'm going to do or what I'm going to talk about. But essentially, I think it's going to be pretty much exactly the same as it was last week. So it's going to be the ongoing trials and tribulations of Windows 11 and all the things that it means to us. Bizarrely, this week, it's just been horrendous. This week has been monumentally crap in terms of anything that I've tried to do has gone completely wrong. It is absolutely awful. William Bodie says the sound is perfect. Well, that's bloody good. And Welly Bob has put £2 in. Is that even working? Hey, eventually it does. Thank you, Kath. And in theory, I've got another thing which might work. This might work. See if this works. Did that work? Can you actually hear that? Was that audible? Did you hear?
Again.
I'll do it again, see if Kath can hear it. Hey, that works as well. Oh, did that work? I don't know. Who knows? I'm still trying to get my head around the Elgato Stream Deck. The lovely Skystalker sent us this ages ago now, it seems, and I've been using it, but I've not really been using it to its fullest. So I've messed around today trying to get the stream going. I've now got a button on here so I can actually end the stream, although it only stops the OBS stream, so it doesn't stop the YouTube Studio stream, which is, yeah, not great. Riley says, oh God, Mike has found sound effects. I've only found 2. I might need another Stream Deck if I need more sound effects. I wanted to do a soundboard with all those kind of crazy sounds and possibly things like the cats and stuff like that. So, George Sonev has given us a £1.65. Thank you very much. Have some gold and some lights and some of Kath's exercise and celebrate. Oh dear, I am a terrible, terrible individual. Dear. Today, actually, things were so bad, I actually ended up going out into the garden and cutting up firewood to relieve some tension. That's how bad things have got. It really has become something else altogether. It is, yeah.
And we were both fighting over the firewood.
We are fighting over firewood at the moment. I'm chopping it. No, Kath wants to chop it. So we've got a nice load of firewood, so when the government decides to turn off the gas and the electricity at some point in this winter, we're hopefully prepared with a little bit of warmth, hopefully.
Until they bring in a smokeless thing.
Yeah, until they make it a smokeless zone, in which case then we're screwed. Right, let's say hello to some of you in the... Oh, someone said it's really loud. What's really loud? Kenny D says, yes, it was really loud. What was it?
Cash.
Oh, the cash was really loud? Oh, that's all right then. I might adjust that a little bit. Don't want it to be too loud. So yes, what have I done this week? This week we have built the new mini PC, which is this one here. This is the InWin Chopin Pro, which there is a full review coming up and the build video, etc. So you're not going to be missing out on anything there. I was actually planning to do this as a live stream build, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm actually glad I didn't, because there was a lot to it that I wasn't entirely expecting, which if I was doing it in a stream I would have been probably yeah, it would have probably went on a little bit too long. I did go through the testing of different coolers in here to see what would fit and what wouldn't, and actually it's in its lead down position at the moment, so if I stand up you can get a better look at it. So this is a absolutely tiny pint size computer. Essentially it isn't a great deal bigger than the IO shield on the back, as you can probably see. Measurement wise, I think it was something like, was it 14 inches by 12? No, I'm completely out on that one. So 9.5 inches.
Should know that.
Ooh, where misses. Yeah, that should have looked familiar. By 8.5 inches, that should have definitely looked more familiar. By about 3 inches, that would have, yeah, I would have definitely recognised that. I digress. Oh, it's getting quite warm in here. Anyway, moving on. So, yes, we've done the building this using the Ryzen 5 5600G. I'm actually getting used to actually saying the 5000 series now. No doubt they'll bring out a 6000 series just to quash that for me. I'm actually gobsmacked how good the 5600G is. I really am. This stupidly small PC is actually the fastest PC in the house now, which is a very strange thing to actually witness and behold. It was one of those, yeah, it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm spending an absolute ton of money, and I'm basically not really using it because it's in the front room where the TV is, which the TV's rubbish, so we don't watch anything in there. We very rarely even go in the room. It's like the 1980s in our house, it really is. So the front room is like the best room, so we only go in there if there's visitors or family or it's Christmas.
And the settees are cat's beds now.
Yeah, the settees are home for the cats, and that is essentially it. We use it for filming a few videos when we've got vacuums, that sort of thing. That is about it. But yeah, I'm actually stunned how good a small form factor PC can actually be and not basically melt itself.
No, it can't be good because it hasn't got room for water cooling.
Who said that? That's Aletta. No room in that case for water cooling. I could run a tap over it. That's probably not beneficial to the actual longevity of this thing. But yeah, it is brilliant. It really is brilliant. The 5600G absolutely powers through tasks. Single core performance, using, what was it, CPU-Z, just doing the benchmarking there. The single core score is like 600 points or something, which is absolutely insane. Even things like, kind of like the 2000 and 3000 series Ryzen chips were getting kind of like 450, 470, something along those lines. Yeah, 600 points as a single core score. Absolutely phenomenal. The 5600G actually performs pretty much the same as or better than a Ryzen 7 1700X, which, if you think about it, is an impressive feat for something this small and actually this inexpensive. Well, I say inexpensive, it's still 250 quid or 240 quid or whatever it is in today's money, so yeah, not brilliant. But yeah, this PC is excellent. I've got nothing bad that I can say about this at all. They've upgraded the power supply from 150 watts, or I think it was, or 120 watts, to a whopping 200 watt power supply now. So even if you've got maybe a Ryzen 7 5700G, if you overclock that on the GPU and on the CPU, you can probably push about 180 watts out of that. So it's, yeah, certainly capable of doing that. I probably wouldn't recommend it. These sort of mini PCs really, I guess, I don't know, what do you use your mini PC from? Let me know in the comments. For me, this, in terms of actually as a PC, it is a general all-round workhorse. When I was doing the testing, installation, and all that kind of stuff, even running Windows 11 on here, even though in theory this should be around about 15% slower than what it's meant to be, it still is bloody quick. It is really, really fast. And I know in the previous stream, not last week, the week before, I actually said about the 5600G, saying it makes absolutely no sense at all. And this has totally changed my mind. It has, in this particular niche case scenario for a mini PC, the 5600G is an absolute dream. It really is. You couldn't ask for better. You honestly couldn't. When it comes to a full-size PC, I guess the onboard graphics maybe is not everyone's cup of tea, and putting a graphics card with it kind of negates the value, but the fact is the 5600G is easily available here in the UK, whereas the 5600X, not so much. So, yes, a very interesting build. We'll take this apart later and I'll give you some close-ups inside so you can see how compact this thing really is. It is absolutely insane. There is a Noctua NH9U, I think it is. It's cooler in there. That fits in there. We've got some large RGB RAM in there as well, which obviously you can't quite see from there. But yeah, it all seems to fit in there very nicely, and even managed to squeeze in there the AMD stock Wraith Stealth cooler. I had to take the plastic cover off the top, but it actually fitted in there. So if you did want to get one of these, you don't want to spend an absolute ton of money on an additional cooler, you can get away with the stock cooler. As we know, the stock cooler isn't great, and you are going to be risking temperatures mid 70s, high 80s under all core loads. But normal Windows use and gaming, 55, 60 degrees, totally acceptable as far as I'm concerned, especially for something this small, and did I not mention, absolutely silent. When it comes to this system, because the power supply is InWind's own custom 80 plus gold, 200 watt, the fan on it is totally silent, and if you have a silent CPU cooler like the Noctua, this thing when it's on, you can't tell it's on. I literally had to look at it and think, oh yeah, the lights are on, excellent, it is working. It is that quiet, it really is. Anyway, I'm digressing, I'm probably getting a little bit too excited about the PC. It's a shame they didn't have some rubber feet on the back side here, so if you wanted to put it in flat mode, there's something to absorb the vibrations. I guess it looks kind of nice upright, which is the intended purpose, I guess, because you've got the mesh on the top to let the heat out. Yeah, our TV cabinet does not have the facilities to have it upright. I could put it on the NAS shelf next to the NAS, that would be perfect, and then I could stream movies off the NAS, although I haven't got any movies on the NAS apart from Mike's unboxing content, which, who wants to watch that? Anyway, so Mark Point says, use my mini PC for YouTubing. It's probably a good idea to do it. Paul Bakewell says, Mike, did you get a 3.5-inch hard drive in it? No, a 3.5-inch hard drive does not fit. It does fit two 2.5-inch drives though, which is surprising actually. In the back section, again, I'll take it apart later, this whole bit comes off and there's two removable caddies in there, so you can put 2.5-inch drives, which, yeah, You can pick those up really cheaply, ex-laptop drives, that kind of thing. William Bodie says, rubber feet you can buy, Mike. Yes, that is indeed very, very true. I may well do that. David Thompson says, talk proper England, Mike. It's CPU Z, not Z. Okay. It's a force of habit.
It's stupid.
Do you know what? When George was younger, because he was reading and using American-based toys and watching American-based stuff, George, when he was younger, actually had an American accent for a little while. He really did. Not lying, he did actually have an American accent. And because I watch a lot of YouTube content, which predominantly is either Canadian or American, I think I do pick up these things. I really do. I try not to. I try not to. Right, anyway. So, yeah, lots of other things which have been going on in this week. This build was, like, even though this was problematic in some respects because it is so small, cable management was trickier than a normal PC, obviously, because of the size of it. But it wasn't totally impossible, and the included power supply's got some pretty decent cables anyway, so we'll talk about it later. The next thing was I then upgraded my video editing PC to Windows 11, which coincided with me downloading and installing Far Cry 6. So now I've got some weird instability on the computer where, actually some of you may have experienced this. If you've got Far Cry 6 or if you've got a Windows PC in general, let me know, because this is driving me mad. With the system, everything running normally, kind of Discord in the background, emails in the background, all that kind of stuff. But playing Far Cry 6 in either full screen mode, windowed or windowed borderless, I can be playing the game for like 2 or 3 hours on the evening, and I go to come out of the game, like press escape or go to exit to desktop, and when I exit the desktop is dead. Nothing at all, not even number lock on the keyboard, press that, nothing happens at all. Yet the game has been running absolutely flawlessly, downloading stuff from the internet, obviously, updates and all that kind of stuff, co-op stuff, that kind of stuff, and even saving the game, the save profile, that seems to be syncing with the cloud. But yet Windows appears to have crashed about 2 hours before. And if I go into the event logs, I can see there's a massive jump. So like last night, for instance, there was one at, I think it was like 10 to 9, and that is when the system seemed to crash. And then the next entry in the event manager was about 11 o'clock when I had to reboot the PC. So the PC went for about 2 hours, where effectively the whole system was completely non-responsive, yet Far Cry 6 carried on playing, and actually playing pretty well. Very, very weird. It's only at the moment Far Cry 6 that does it, so it could well be just a Far Cry 6 issue, but it's one thing which I haven't found many other people have been reporting. There's been all kinds of crashes that people have had with Far Cry 6, crashing to desktop, the game itself crashing. But I've got the exact opposite. The game itself is running perfectly. It's just Windows isn't. And again, it is Windows 11 now rather than Windows 10 because, oh dear, I was having the problems with Windows 10 and I thought to myself, I know what I'll do, I'll upgrade to Windows 11 and that'll rewrite all the system files and that should cure it. No, it didn't. Although, it doesn't seem to have made the system any slower. Although, some of you may have experienced this. I don't know if it's me or it's the peripherals I'm using, because it does seem to follow me around wherever I'm doing it. But has anyone ever noticed on Windows 11 that you get sort of phantom clicks? Or not phantom clicks, I suppose. It's not as responsive. So, say for instance you've got your mouse, you've gone over to the start menu, you've clicked on start, and you've heard the mouse click, but nothing's happened. So you've clicked again and it's worked the second time. Or you've pressed the back button on the mouse and it's like, well, why is it not gone back? And then it goes back eventually. And sometimes when I'm typing, I'm sure my typing isn't as bad as the YouTube Studio would make you believe. And when I'm answering to your comments, if my typing is bad, I don't personally think it's me. I think it's down to the keyboard and the mouse not always registering clicks or taps or presses.
You need a Microsoft keyboard.
Well, no, that's the thing. I've tried it with my Corsair keyboard, which I thought maybe that's a duff, but that does it. This one does it, and I've changed it because I did have my MSI GK30. I've now changed it to the TechWare keyboard, whatever it is, and also the Logitech keyboard here, the MK295 setup. They all seem to be doing it. So let me know in the comment section, has anyone else experienced this, or if now thinking about it, it makes sense that, oh yeah, that's happening to me as well, please let me know. I have noticed it occasionally in Windows 10, but it does seem to be considerably more prevalent in Windows 11. It could just be a weird bug thing, I don't know. But yeah, again, let me know in the comment section what you're thinking there. So that was that going on. It was, yeah, all bad stuff. Then we got round to, basically we got sent some cases by Colink. I'm going to throw Colink under the bus here slightly, so yeah, do bear with me on this one. Actually, Kath, can I have one of those lemony vodka drinks, please, to power my way through this, because I might need it.
Oh, wicked.
Yes, please. Have one yourself.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. So, Colink have been kind enough to send me 2 cases to review. One of them is the Unity X code, which I think Patreon viewers may have already got access to. Is that right, Kath?
Sorry?
Did Patreon got access to the Unity Code X review?
I don't know.
Possibly, maybe not yet. If not, members will get it shortly as well, so there's a week delay between the two. Essentially, Patrons get 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Members get, I think it's a week and a bit, or nearly 2 weeks anyway. Let's move on. So, the Colink Unity X, they sent it, and in the blurb on their website, it quite clearly says that it will fit 3 360mm radiators, which I'm sure Aletta would be very much appreciative of. And there is, who's that with a super chat? There's Ugly Bob with a £10 super chat. Says, see you all soon, take care and do everything Aletta tells you to.
Aww.
That's worth $1, or 10 in fact. Thank you, Ugly Bob. Ugly Bob is working away at the moment, so he's working hard, out of sync with the UK times, I believe. Thank you, Bob. Have a party on us. Have a party in your pants. Thank you, Kath. Cheers, everybody. Have a drink. I'm going to need it. This could be a long one. Very nice. Okay, so they've sent a case which in the blurb says it fits 3 360mm AIOs. It has got, very similar to the Techwear VXR behind me, it has got space down the top, down the bottom, top, side and bottom for 3 120mm fans. This is where the problem lies, I believe, with both the Techwear VXR and also the Colink Unity Code X. Because in the design process, they've looked at it and said, yeah, it holds 3 120mm fans, they've assumed that a 360mm AIO is 360mm, which anyone who's got a 360mm radiator, Aletta, please feel free to chime in here, you will know that you have 3 120mm fans, and then you have a bit on the end, which is normally where your tubes come out. Yeah, you with me so far? Same with a 240mm. A 240mm AIO doesn't measure 240mm. It measures 240mm for the fans, plus roughly about 30mm on the end, give or take, for the tubes, and possibly a pump header, fan connections, etc, etc. You get the general idea. So I got the case, all excited, about to do my Intel build, which is now, like I said, in the PC behind me. Got it all out, started putting it all in, tried to put the radiator in, and realised immediately that the position I wanted to put the radiator in, which is traditionally that side position there, because I like the look of it there, I realised it wouldn't fit. So got into touch with Colink and said, look, this case, I cannot fit a 360mm rad in the position that I want to do it in one of the 3 positions. So they come back with saying, well, which one are you using? It should fit in there unless you're using a particularly thick radiator. So I replied saying, no, it's a fractal, well, I tried 2 in fact. I've tried the, actually no, I didn't try that one because I didn't want to take all that out. I tried the fractal S36, which was kindly sent to us a while back by a viewer. And that isn't a particularly large radiator. If anything, it's possibly on the smaller side. Got 25mm for the radiator, 25mm for the fans, which is pretty much standard deal. Plus you've got a few extra mil on the top. So that one actually measures bang on 400mm from top to bottom. Physically, it will not fit in that case in any position other than the top position. And in doing so, you can't screw 2 of the screws in on the very end to hold it all in place. So as you know with radiators, if you've not used one before, I'll tell you now. Normally where the radiators are, so for each fan, you've almost got 4 corresponding screws which go through to the top of your case into the actual radiator itself to hold it in place. So 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, and an extra couple or so, depending on obviously if it's a 240 or 360. So you can put most of the screws in apart from the ones on the end, so not ideal. And that is actually the biggest part of the case, which you could put a radiator in. So they don't know this yet actually, so I'll say it anyway. So basically I got out my my DeWalt multi-tool and cut the bejesus out of it and cut a massive thing out, thinking, right, if I can put the pipes through the case from behind, I can put the radiator behind like I have in that one and put the fans in front with the case kind of downright in between it, sandwiching it, which then I can put all the fans in like it is behind me. That is what I want to emulate. So I cut out all the stuff with the multi-tool, which I have actually recorded, so you will get to see this at some point. I think we did, didn't we? I hope I haven't deleted that. No, I have got it.
I did record it.
So we've got that footage anyway, so you can see me getting medieval with a case, which is something which I've not done in a very, very long time. So I cut all that out, and then I've still found that I couldn't actually put the pipes through the holes. So I got back in touch with Colink, to our contact, and said, look, I cannot get a radiator to fit in here satisfactorily in a 360mm in top, middle, side, whatever. Please, please, if you have actually found in your testing that you can get these in, can you tell me what models you've used and maybe give me some hints or tips, because I physically cannot do it. So they come back after saying, oh, terribly sorry about this, Mike, because I did actually say in there, it's holding up my video schedule because I want to do an Intel build and I'm waiting on this. It's part of a whole process which is going on, which I've got planned in my mind. So it's holding me up. So they were very apologetic and said, look, I'm really sorry. I don't know is the honest answer, but I will refer this question to the products manager. So this was on Friday morning. We eventually got this reply. So I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm eagerly awaiting to see what they say. Now, I've actually screenshotted on their website where it says it has space for up to 10 fans and 3 360mm radiators. So I've got that for prosperity. I've actually kept it just so that it wasn't me just imagining things. They did actually say it. And physically, I can't even get one in there satisfactorily. So, yeah. So that is why that video hasn't come on. So the review video of the case itself, I did actually mention in the review, the unboxing rather, that the as far as I was concerned, the case, although physically you potentially could get some in there, you may not be able to. So yeah, there is that to it. Anyway, so what's getting off my chest? They did send another case.
Patreon, sorry.
Yeah, Patrons, I've got it. Excellent. So yeah, Patrons can check out that case. It's a lovely case. It's a really nice case, and in theory, it should do everything the TechWare VXR does, and more, because it's got a bit more depth, so you can put a larger air cooler in. So if you wanted to, you could have 10 120mm fans and a big 165mm tower cooler in there and have just insane airflow. Or you can have, in theory, 3 360mm radiators. Anyway, digressing. So they also sent another case, which is one which has got 3 different RGB glass fronts with different designs on, which I've already looked at. I've taken it out of the box, and it's one of those designs where it just pains me to say it. You've got 3 mounts on the front for 3 120mm fans, or 2 140s, whatever it might be. But the front is solid glass. And there is literally about a gap of about, I don't know, 4 or 5mm between this inset. I'm gonna have to show you it at some point because it's just insane. But basically, yeah, you've got 3 mounting holes for fans, but nowhere for the air to actually come into those fans. So that, again, might be another one where I'm kind of like, guys, what are you doing? Colink, for me, have had a really, really good run. So we've had the Citadel mesh, which was brilliant. We've had the Stronghold, the revised Stronghold, and what was the other one? There was the other one, the Phalanx, that was as well.
Oh, and that little tiny one.
Yeah, that was the Citadel mesh.
No, the teeny weeny.
Oh, and the rocket, yeah, the Citadel rocket, all that kind of stuff. All great cases, but these two, I just, oh, it's just drove me slightly mad. So yes, that has been one of those things this week which also hasn't worked. So anyway, I should go through the catch up And let's see what's going on. I want to hear about your problems with Windows 11 because I've been having issues. Oh, I've not even got started on the Intel chipset drivers issue yet, which we'll talk about. I'll do some questions and answers and stuff on there first of all, and then we'll go through and talk about Windows 11 and Intel chipset drivers, which you are not going to believe how bad that is.
You need a palm.
I do. I need one of those noises on there, the palm, face palm.
That's the word.
I need one of those because it's definitely an Intel moment. So, anyway, William Bodie, good evening to you. O'Reilly is with us also. Paul Bakewell, Jan 2016. Ultimate Tech Hub, Mike from good old Las Vegas. How you doing, Mike? If you've not been to Ultimate Tech Hub, check out his channel. It's actually a very good YouTube channel.
We will be in touch.
We will be in touch. Reference your email as well also. I haven't forgotten you. Rick H says, good evening all, hope things are well in your lives. I think I showed that earlier actually. William Bailey, Matthew Day says, dinner tonight will be microwave hoisin duck noodles. It was reduced.
That sounds quite
Hoisin duck noodles, I have not had that for the longest time. I can't remember the last time I had hoisin duck. It would have been...
I don't think you've ever had the noodles.
I've never had it with noodles, I've always had it with probably chips.
Spring rolls.
Yeah, spring rolls. Oh, spring rolls dipped in hoisin sauce.
Oh, didn't we have that like shredded beef with like, little pancake things you made your own?
Shredded duck with little pancakes.
And dippy dippy.
Ooh. Ooh.
No double dippy.
I'm feeling hungry. William Bodie is just having tuna pizza. Tuna pizza's good. Where are we? Matt says, anyone else been using Windows 11? I've been for 4 months and it's pretty much Windows 10 with a few tweaks. It depends. It does depend how you've installed Windows 11. If you install from a fresh install, the Windows 11 experience is a totally different beast. If you've not installed it from a fresh install, you've not truly experienced Windows 11 and what it has to offer. If you've done it from Windows 10, it actually takes a lot of your settings from Windows 10, which you've obviously already tailored to your liking. Windows 11 as a fresh install is very, very different. And actually something even as simple as changing your default browser from Edge to Chrome is extremely difficult. I mean, like, hard. Proper kind of, in terms of technologically advanced brain cells, you've got to be at least on a 9 out of 10. It's extremely hard to do. And it quite often says, actually, F you, I'm just going to use Edge regardless. So there's definitely going to be some things going on there where people need to take a look at. But yeah, if you think that Windows 11 is a Windows 10 shell, it isn't. Especially if you do a fresh install. It's a very, very different beast. And surprisingly fast. You do a Windows 11 fresh installation on either Intel or AMD systems, from the very first thing, you do notice it be considerably quicker. Now I've actually tested this week a fresh install with exactly the same setup of the Intel system behind me on Windows 10 with all the service packs, and then Windows 11 with all the up-to-date patches. The Windows 11 machine in Cinebench scores at least 500 points more every time. So definitely they are leveraging a little bit more power out of Intel systems, it would seem. And that is, again, going between Windows 10 and Windows 11. So we're avoiding the whole AMD thing, because that is, yeah, that's a separate issue altogether. But certainly if you're an Intel user and you want a little bit more speed out of your operating system, definitely Windows 11 is quicker. Definitely.
I'm okay to put the links in for the case, aren't I?
Yeah, of course, yeah. William Bodie says, Matt did install Windows 10 to make it ready. 2 PM 2.0, okay. Kieran Atkinson is with us, says, hey, hey. How you doing, Kieran? William Bodie is with us also. Matt, Welly Bob says, very good evening, unboxers. Hi. Eddie says, hi, everyone. And also Nick Barnes, even though finally something great to watch on this Saturday night. Thank you, Nick. That's very, very kind of you. I haven't paid you to say that, have I? Please let them know in the chat that I haven't paid you to say that. Rick H says, good evening, Lady Calf and Sir Mike. Sir Mike of Savile. Oh dear. Patrick LaBelle says, hello Mike Calf and chat. Dutch Jan says, ho hoi everybody. Who else we got? Nick Barnes said that one. John Sullivan, how you doing, John? Good to see you. To see you, nice. Fred Brown liked number 9. Thanks, Fred. Bless Fred. Every video he likes and he puts the number that he is at the time. He's had some pretty good podium spots as well. Fair play.
Especially recently.
Aletta says, let's go people, let's go Brandon. Lol. What is let's go Brandon all about? Please someone in the chat explain to me what is let's go Brandon. I live a very isolated life. I watch YouTube videos, so obviously that is heavily censored anyway. But yeah, I have not got a clue what's going on.
I keep asking you.
Kath asked me as well. She got no idea. Wild Bill says, very good evening to Mike, Kath and fellow followers. Wishing one and all a marvellously gay evening, interjected with plenty of spunky conversation. Wow. Willie Bob says, the mub tunnel experience. Getting that to work again, the mub tunnel. I had to do some hard work to get the mub tunnel working again. Bandy says, open the door. Not sure. Big Mike, get it. That was when the close-up at the start, so I had to apologise for that. Ordinary Dude was with us, or Todd as he's known affectionately on the Discord. Buddy Bob, picture quality is superior. Yeah, is the picture quality superior? Did you notice it, Kath, on there?
Not really.
Does it look any sharper?
I watch it at stupid things.
Have you got it at 720p or are you 1080p?
That's 1080. No, that's auto.
Ah, right, okay.
1080.
Hopefully it's a little bit sharper. That would be good. Aletta says, stream looks awesome. Awesome. Did you get a tan just for us? I did go out in the garden today cutting wood. And not necessarily tan. It's probably just mud and dirt. Dear. Who else we got? Wenny Bob, who said that. He's sent the rant money in. Kenny D says, there also isn't much to talk about apart from the dreadful RX 6600. Yeah, it's not particularly good, is it, on the graphics card front still? I was actually considering getting an RX 6600 just for the hell of it, but then I thought no, because there's actually probably someone out there who desperately needs it, so I'm not going to be that person. A letter says her guitar is unplayable. I'll have to take it to the shop. You take it to a calf, she'll chop it up for firewood. You burn well, those do. We're terrible people. George sent us the £1.65. Thank you, George. Matthew Day then discovers that sound effects are copyright. They better not be, because they come from bloody Elgato, from their own downloadable library. I must do a video on actually how that all works as soon as I work out in my own head how it works. Nanad says Windows 11 on my PC is ready for update in settings, but I won't enable TPM, still not interested. Fair enough, fair enough. Don't blame you. There is definitely issues with it. It's nice. I like the interface. I'm getting quite used to the interface. And actually one thing, if you're doing networking or you've got a NAS, Windows 11 works very well with networks. Setting up Windows 10 machine to see other PCs on a home network, pain in the ass. Some would see it, some wouldn't. Some permissions would stick, some wouldn't. Absolutely horrendous. And even things like the Windows 10 home group, which was kind of helpful, often got messed up. But fingers crossed and wood pressed and all that kind of stuff. The Windows 11 networking is very good. Connecting to the NAS on there, literally click on the NAS in the network neighborhood, enable network browsing or whatever it was, type in my user credentials, boom, 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 all my network drives, absolutely fantastic. Do like that a lot. Matt says, I've had 3700X and now running the 5950. Nice. From AMD, both are awesome and more powerful than you need, even doing 4K rendering and streaming. I don't know. I don't know whether, when it comes to rendering, if you're rendering, you probably won't be rendering on cores anyway. I suppose it depends what app you're using. If you're using Premiere Pro, don't render on CPU cores. It's horrendous. Pandy says, is the front room for when Kerry Holzman comes to stay? I would like him to come to stay. That would be an interesting one.
But he can bring his own Coke.
Yeah, he can bring his own Coca-Cola. Christopher Butt says 5600G sounds ideal for the no GPU ITX setup. Yes, it is. Exactly that. It is perfect for that particular purpose. Markovsky says, have 2 mini PCs, love them both to bits. One thing I like about this actually is its portability. Because you don't have an external power brick, literally, you can use a power cable and HDMI cable. If you've got a wireless keyboard and mouse, that is it. For a kind of 1-wire or 2-wire setup, it is extremely neat. I hate it when you have these sort of PCs and you've got all the USB stuff sticking out the back and it just looks awful. It's not too bad for me because I normally have it led down, so the wires kind of trail out the back anyway, but for any upright PC, for anyone old enough or daft enough to remember the Acer Revo, the 3600 range, which were kind of like, almost like diamond-shaped PCs on a little stand, white things they were. They were running the Intel Atom processor with the with the NVIDIA, was it 8400M graphics inside or something? Horrendous. Ooh, that was horrible. But those were the same. Older USBs and stuff sticking out the back looked bloody awful. Yes, Kath.
Because you're so far behind, Nick Barnes asked, do you feel upgrading to Windows 11 so quickly is going to be a problem if we need to replace or upgrade components?
That is an interesting one. Nick has asked, actually I'll fast forward through, so I think I've said hello to most people, we can look back.
You won't.
So Nick Barnes has a question here. Mike, do you feel upgrading to Windows 11 so quickly is going to be a problem if we need to replace or upgrade components? Truthfully, at the moment, I'm kind of in that, excuse me, I'm kind of in that situation where I've installed it on enough PCs now so that I can start swapping bits out and seeing what the actual deal is. I have got TPM installed, but I haven't encrypted anything. So I think from my limited knowledge, which I'll be honest with you is extremely limited, so don't take this as being gospel, but I'm pretty sure as long as I don't enable BitLocker, then I can change things out without too much fuss. I think. Maybe I should take a note of my TPM keys. I don't even know where they are. I've not looked into it. I really should, I suppose. So, honestly, I don't know the answer. Early adopters always feel the pinch, whether it's in the pocket or just the frustration levels. Could be either way. So, yes, I don't know is the honest answer. Ultimate Tech Hub says, can't wait for the GTA remastered. Yeah, there's a few people on the Discord today saying about that, saying GTA's being remastered. I'll be honest with you, I have played probably half an hour of GTA 5 and I just didn't enjoy it very much. It's one of those things I only actually bought it purely because people were using it for benchmarks, and I tried doing the benchmarks and it was just like, oh, I can't be bothered with this. It's the same stuff over and over. It's boring the hell out of me. I hate benchmarks. I absolutely hate benchmarks. I hate watching them. I hate doing them. I just hate them. I really do. Trev Good says, I finally did my first build, 5700X, 32 gigs of RAM and RTX 3070, and everything runs perfect. Awesome stuff. I'm glad you managed to get hold of the bits. It's not easy. Ricardo says, I'm more interested in using Microsoft Office 2021 than Windows 11 instead. Christopher Butt says, I remember when the Atom notebooks were around and they were just awful. Yeah, they were. Those Acer Revo boxes, they were designed for Windows 7 and they had 2 gigs of RAM with them. You could upgrade them to 4, but it was awful work. So I had about 5 of them that I was using on a set somewhere. And because Windows 10 came out, they wanted Windows 10 on them. Well, they didn't. I did really, but to make life easier. And I regretted it instantly because they just run like absolute dogs. Horrendous. Ian W says, Nokia is bringing back the updated version of the iconic brick phone, the 6310, complete with Snake, but will it run Windows 11? Probably not. But is it going to be as nice as the 80... Is this the 8210 or is this 8310? I think this is the 83. No, actually, no, that is... No, this is the... Yeah, this is the 8210. Remember these? Absolutely tiny. This was basically the same size as my Astra... sorry, my Vauxhall Corsa car key. This weighs in at a whopping just over 3.5 inches. That there, my friends, is a phone. I want a 2G. It's, there's the overhead. You can see it. Look at that. That is absolutely amazing. I wonder if it still works.
I don't think we've got a charger.
No. Actually, was that the power button there? No, that was the send and receive, wasn't it? It was the top one. No, I think that is completely flat. I've got the charger for this somewhere.
I want it. You can have money for my iPhone.
No, well. Nope. That's not going to happen. Right. Who else we got there? Riley says, I would keep a copy of TPM keys before you swap out components of Windows 11, just in case when you put the original parts back, the system knows and you have to create new keys. Yeah, I'm not too sure how that's all going to work out, because in theory, TPM kind of was how your license keys were activated. So if you change any components, Microsoft were like, you've changed your components, your Windows key is disactivated, or deactivated even. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to just get some. Actually, I've got a couple of motherboards I can try it now. So I'm just gonna swap a few motherboards and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, I'll just cry. George says, would you recommend an external hard drive for Steam games? Some games I would say yes, some games I would say no. And it depends on the system configuration. If you've got a lot of system RAM, you can get away with running off Steam games from a NAS. It's not ideal, but it does work. Certainly an external hard drive for Steam games, if it's on a USB 3 and it's a fast enough drive, maybe even a external solid state drive like the, where are we? Something like that, Silicon Power one, which, that one there. So you can see on the overhead hopefully.
So it looks a little bit dark on the other.
On what, the overhead? And the main one? Oh, that's the camera. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will rectify that if it looks a bit dark. It's my fault. My fault entirely. It's because I've been playing around with the ISO. Let's set the ISO to auto. That should brighten up now. Oh dear. And is that a bit brighter?
Yeah.
Yay. Technology at its best. So yeah, Silicon Power, one of those external USB 3 drives. You're looking around about 500 megabytes per second, read and write. So that is going to be as fast as a mechanical storage drive easily in terms of a drive. Yeah, depends what you're thinking of. If you're thinking of an external drive that is a mechanical drive, it's doable. It is doable. Easy way of doing it is just get your copy your files from your Steam library onto a folder onto an external drive, and then map that drive to your Steam account, and then you can just run games from it and see how it works for you. You don't have to worry about downloading it all again or reinstalling it all, because it's literally just there as a map drive. Markovsky says, I watched Mike's Windows 11 install guide and it was very good. Have I done one of those? Did I do one of those?
What's that?
Windows 11 install guide.
Yeah.
Did I? Oh yeah, that was this week.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week it was.
I can't even remember doing that.
Wasn't it last
That's the
Friday?
kind of week that it's been.
You did a fresh install and you did a...
I did, that's right, actually, yeah, you're right, I did.
Right one.
Mark Berry says, I had an AT210, love that phone, fitted in your top pocket. Yeah, it is a great phone, actually. I got very, very fond memories of this with the original Nokia headset, which you could plug in there, clip on a little microphone onto your shirt and put an earphone in. And it had a radio built in as well, so you could actually listen to the radio through that headset and then take a call when you wanted to. This was technology, it really was. I don't remember if it had games on it. Did it have Snake?
Yeah.
Or
well,
Tetris?
my
I suppose it
big-
must have done.
My big grey one had Snake because I completed it waiting for the kids to come out of school every day.
What a fantastic little phone that is.
I want to go back to it. Can I have Christmas?
Dutch Jan says Windows 11 don't work for me. Components change too often. I'm in the same boat because of obviously testing components and doing different videos and configurations and stuff. I fear I may be in the same situation, swapping out graphics cards and things. Actually, that's what I might do. I'm going to try swapping out a few graphics cards in... Yeah, if I do it on the machine behind me, I've already backed it up to Macrium. I do an image backup every day. So, worst case scenario, if it goes Pete Tong, I can always just copy the image back on him and back to square one. Yeah, that could be okay. Kieran says, I have so much installed thanks to Xbox Games Pass. Ricardo says, who owns a working BlackBerry phone? Wish to have kept one of those. BlackBerry actually, the brand name BlackBerry was actually sold to another company, and they were going to bring out some new phones. I think they did bring out one, maybe two, but it just didn't take off again because it was basically an Android phone with a BlackBerry badge on it. So it's a bit pointless and it was very expensive.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Don't bother. Oh, it's because I said Android, didn't it? I upset you. Dutch Jan says Mike isn't 20 anymore. No, this is true.
Inside you are.
Internally, no, internally I'm not. It's all ruined. Hugh says, can you run external on Thunderbolt? Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. Again, Thunderbolt is something I've had very, very little experience or exposure to. Christopher Butt says, Mike, will you do a Windows 11 install guide for unsupported hardware? Yes, I will be doing that primarily because my Surface Pro 3 refuses to have Windows 11 on it because it's a 4th gen Intel processor. And what was the other problem? There was two problems. Or was it just the processor? Might have been just the processor, I think. But yeah, it said... computer says no. Oh, actually, yeah, only supports TPM 1.2 rather than TPM 2. So, yes. I will be doing that, definitely. Rick H says, I can't count higher than Windows 7. I don't blame you. It's probably easier. I wish we'd have stopped at Windows 98, really. I was happy. It worked. Ordinary Dude says, once most of the major bugs are fixed and the TPM requirement becomes an option, which it will, I think the TPM thing is going to go very, very soon. I think it'll be one of those things where they will encourage business users to turn on TPM and home users will be like, yeah, whatever. Simon Arden says, evening folks, how you doing? Late again. No worries, buddy. Has anyone mentioned what Brandon was all about yet? Let's go Brandon.
It's because they were saying F Biden or something, so they said that over the top, or said that they were chanting that.
I've just seen what it says. It says the stream's current bitrate, 20,000 kilobits, is higher than recommended. I keep on getting a pop-up saying there. I might have to change that. Right, excuse me a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do some on-the-fly settings changing if I can. Can I do that? Output? Yes. Let's turn that down to 10. I wonder if it actually makes any difference at all to the visual quality. It probably won't. Still haven't dropped any frames though. Good old Intel. It'll probably drop a couple of frames as soon as I press apply. I can't even see what that says now.
With glasses.
So if I turn number lock on, that'd be helpful. What is the recommended? Open widget. Sorry about this. I'm a noob. It is recommended. The stream's the stream bitrate of 4500. You stupid people. Right, let's try 4500 then. Apply. Is there going to be any difference? I don't know if there will be. There probably won't be. Anyway, moving on. So, Matthew Day says, is it QSV? Did you get the IGP running in tandem? No, I haven't. I don't think I have anyway. No, it's still using the encoder is currently hardware NVENC. I must look into that actually. Work out how to get all that working. Literally this, right. Let's get back into the rant now. So this is where installing Intel systems on Windows 10 is pretty easy. Normally you install Windows 10, run all the updates, and it finds your motherboard, it finds your drivers, it finds most of the stuff. Sometimes you might have to download the Intel chipset drivers. Good luck with that. Have you tried using the Intel chipset driver installation utility or the automatic driver updater recently? I don't want to swear, but I should. It is absolutely horrendous. I thought it was me being stupid. Potentially it still could be. User error is often found in this particular position where I'm sat right now, and even sat there. Trying to get the Intel chipset drivers from a B560 motherboard, which is relatively newish, it's been out for probably a year, maybe slightly more. Trying to get it to work with Windows 11, unbelievably difficult. So you go to Intel's website, you go to the Intel chipset drivers page, you download the auto installer, you run the auto installer, it tells you to reboot, you reboot, it says there's new updates to be found, you go to updates and it says no updates for your motherboard. Let me get it straight. So this is an Intel B560 chipset made by Intel. Correct? Yes. And you're telling me that you, as Intel, the company that has more money in research and development than AMD do for their entire company, and you cannot get a decent working unified driver installer. AMD have doing it for what? 3 years now, at least, if not more. The all-in-one chipset driver has been a thing for donkey's years. The Catalyst one, whatever, adrenaline drivers, all that kind of stuff before it. Even via chipset, back in the day, the VIA chipset, you could get the VIA 4-in-1 driver and it would install the chipset, the sound card, the LAN, modem, etc, etc. It would do the whole lot. Intel still cannot manage to do it. And if they can, as a relatively savvy technical person, I'd be damned if I can find how to do it. So in theory, if you've got an Intel motherboard, you cannot just download a single package and install the lot. William Bodie, I see your comment already. That is where I'm heading to. So if you've got an Intel motherboard, there's essentially 3 major components to the chipset. So the first one is the chipset INF files. So that is things like your SM bus and some PCI kind of, I want to say drivers, but they're not. Basically, it's a way of the system pushing data in certain pathways. I'm not sure what the exact name for it, but also there is what is called the kind of the system engine, or the MEI, I think they call it. So that is a separate sub-part of the chipset. And then you've got the graphical part of it, so the Intel Xe driver type thing for the iGPU. So there's 3 different elements there, which again, AMD managed to perfectly do. So for anyone who's installed the AMD chipset drivers recently, if you haven't, you should do, because the PSP thing is still a vulnerability. But even when you do that, there's 6 subsections. It comes up and there's a green tick in each one generally. You've got the GPIO driver, you've got the AMD SM bus, you've got the chipset, blah, 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 etc., etc. It's all there. You basically just click install and it does it for you. Whereas with Intel, you've got to go around houses. Now you could, if you wanted to, if you're that way inclined, if you don't particularly want the latest drivers, you could head over to the motherboard vendor's website, go to the thing, downloads, but you've still got the same thing. You've got essentially the same as Intel, but in a different format. So you've got 3 or 4 or even more individual things that you need to download. Which order do you do them in? Do you do your network driver first? Do you do your Bluetooth driver first? Do you do your Wi-Fi driver first? Do you do the Intel ME engine management interface thing first? Do you do the INF drivers? Which do you do? It is an absolute mess. It really is. And I think it's actually got worse than what it was previously. Yes, Kath?
Mark's asked, have you tried Intel Support Assistant?
Yes, I've tried Intel Support Assistant. It does nothing. It is absolutely useless. The Support Assistant suggested I install the auto install, and the auto install basically said, I've found a driver for your Bluetooth module, would you like to install it? Yeah, that's kind of nice, but I'd really like to get rid of all these exclamation marks in Device Manager first, if that's okay with you, Intel. Absolutely pointless. So, being that, okay, I'll give it some leeway, we're on Windows 11. Not a problem, I'm thinking to myself, it's okay. I'll just change the checkbox, pretend it's Windows 10, it's going to be essentially the same drivers anyway. No, still refuses to get rid of those things. So I eventually ended up just getting the individual INF files, or INT files, which back in the day was the way that you'd install all drivers. So if you had a mouse to install, you'd look for a driver disk on a floppy disk and have an INF file, and you just point the system into the INF file and go, there you go, and they go, oh, I know what you are now, and it would install the driver. So I installed the INF driver, and I was down from 4 exclamation marks to 2. So yeah, it's getting better. In which case, I thought, actually, F this altogether, I am not doing this. So I headed over to the Snappy Driver installer, which...
First of all, use...
Oh no, sorry, yeah, that's a lie. This is on the second time round.
That's on Windows
So
10.
yeah, this was on Windows 10. So on Windows 11, it was like, right, okay, what other options have I got? So I looked at the motherboard box. I looked at it long and hard, and it's like, I know what I've got. So I actually had to dig out. I'll show you what I had to dig out. This isn't going to be the exact same one, but you'll get the idea of where I'm going with this. It's in here somewhere. I had to dig out one of these. Do you remember these? These, ladies and gentlemen, are... Actually, are we allowed to say ladies and gentlemen anymore? It's not British Airways, don't matter. This is a driver DVD. For those of you old enough to remember, when you'd build a system, one of the first things you'd do after you've installed Windows 98, Windows 2000, less probably, but maybe, possibly XP, you would get one of these and you would stick it into your CD-ROM drive. At which point, this thing would be loaded with some pretty out-of-date drivers, but it would get you out of a fix, and it would install things like your network card, your chipset drivers, probably loads of things like Norton, Google. It would probably change your default browser as well, all that kind of usual stuff. It would probably install things like WinRAR, WinZip, basically a load of junk that you don't necessarily need, but hey, it was on there, so they would do it. And from manufacturer to manufacturer, some of them are better than others. I seem to recall Gigabyte being particularly awful. MSI weren't too bad because they were pretty open, you could just tick boxes, but Gigabyte would be like, right, you've ticked this, so I'm just going to install what I want anyway. Anyway, the board that I was using was an Asus board, so that made things even worse because it decided then it actually wanted to install pretty much everything. So we had Norton System Protect, we had Google, we had Aurora, Armory Crate, some LAN driver. Basically, it was a mess, but it did actually install the chipset drivers like that. Literally, straight in, chipset drivers done and dusted. This is on a driver DVD. This is like 2000 technology. This is 2021. It's 20 years on since we last really started using DVD installers. 20 years. And I had to pull out, because obviously most PCs now don't have an optical drive. I would say if I asked you guys in the chat now, how many of you have got a DVD-ROM drive in your system? I know one for sure, which would be Matthew Day. Mark, possibly.
No, Markovsky.
Oh, Markovsky has got one, has he? Oh, right, okay, yeah, a portable DVD-ROM drive. Exactly. Rick H says, I always copy the DVD to a USB stick. Now that's a very good idea. Fred Brown says, Mike, I used to like it when the disc came with drivers and best of all, game demos. I've got to be honest with you, back in the day when I used to get PC Pro magazine, used to come with normally 2 discs on the front, 2 CDs, one of which would be utilities and the other ones would be like game demos. And I actually used to enjoy those, and I quite often install those. Those were good times. I remember things like Carmageddon, the first level of Carmageddon coming on and things like that.
Cats and dogs.
Very good stuff. Enjoyed that a lot.
It's like, what is it though?
So, yeah, I would say I was shocked. I was shocked that the actual experience of installing and configuring an Intel-based motherboard in 2021 on a up-to-date operating system was so bad. Even Windows Update would not touch it. I even got to the point where I was right-clicking on the devices in Device Manager, looking at the hardware IDs, putting the hardware IDs into Google to work out what the bloody hell they were.
Ordinary Dude said you can download
Not good.
board drivers directly from the board's product support page.
You can, yeah, Ordinary Dude, you're absolutely right. You can download them, but they're a mismatch. Actually, I'm going to do it now. I will show you the hell on earth that is Intel chipset drivers. Let's go to ASUS. Actually, it's going to go there straight away because it remembers me doing it from when I did it earlier. So let me full screen this and let's give you the desktop. Well, actually, let's get rid of that. Oh, Simon Arden's comment's still on there. I better get rid of that. Hang on a second. Let's go back to the main camera. And that one, and clear. I am rubbish at this. And back to the desktop. There we go. Is that what? Right, yeah, that's good. Oh, actually, I know what I shouldn't have on there. Let's get rid of the banner. There we go, it's better. Right. Can you hear me still? Yeah, good. I can see that something's going on. Okay, so this is the motherboard that I used for the Intel setup. So Intel B560 LJ. This isn't particularly new. This is a good, I don't know, yeah, like I said, about a year old. So what I ended up doing, go to support, and then we go to drivers and utilities, and we go to drivers, and first of all, it's like, all right, okay, so we don't have Windows 11 then. So Windows 11 isn't a thing, even though it's been out at least a week. So that's not good. So click on others. And yeah, it's yeah, there's not a lot going on there. So Windows 10 64-bit. This is where, so there you go, chipset drivers. So Intel Consumer ME driver. So that's one part of it. So that's the ME driver. Then you've got the audio driver. Then you've got the VGA driver. Then you've got the Bluetooth driver. Then you've got the SATA driver, should you want to. And then you've got the Armory Crate. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, arguably 5, 6, say 6 or 7 drivers that you could install. And for the uninitiated, if you're thinking, right, okay, yeah, that's the one. So, and this is, again, this is for Windows 10, not Windows 11, which makes it even harder. So it's just really bloody awkward. It would be so much easier. We go to Intel. So, all right, that's not how you spell Intel. So Intel driver support assistant. There we go. Straight away, no supported driver or software updates are available for your system. So it knows what it is. It knows the BIOS level. It knows the date the BIOS was installed. It knows everything about it. The devices, the processor, graphics card, etc. Even things like the capture cards I got installed. So they know exactly what my system is. It's not as if they can't find it because they don't know what it is. They're just like, no, there's no drivers. We don't do drivers for that. How ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, a company which is spending more money on research and development every year than AMD spend on everything. How can they do things so badly? Anyway, let's actually, I know exactly why they do it so bad, because all that money. Oh dear. Anyway, let's go.
Open box CPUs worth it?
That's a very good question. Are open box CPUs worth it? I suppose it depends where you're buying it from. If you're buying it from a reputable place, then yeah, I don't see any reason why not. William Bodie says, look up Snappy Driver, please. That is actually what I did end up doing. I actually did a video on Snappy Driver. It's called Snappy Driver Installer Origin, is the official name, or SDIO. Yes, so we've, yeah. I did end up eventually getting to the point where it's like, actually, I can't be messing around with this any longer. Excuse me. Installed Snappy Driver Installer and yeah, sat back and it was much, much better. And in fact, there are 2 videos coming out in a week or so's time, possibly.
2 probably.
One of which covers the Windows 10 fiasco, one of which covers the Windows 11 fiasco. Yes, it's just...
And we have previously
it's
done
not.
Snappy Driver.
Yeah, and we've done a Snappy Driver video, so...
But that's previous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we've done a new one-ish. You'll see it.
Patrick asked, what is this little thing you are using to switch output?
What am I using? Who said that?
Patrick.
Patrick. I can't see. Oh, Patrick Lavelle. Hey, what's this little thing you're using to switch inputs? This was what was sent to us by Skystalker. This is the Stream Deck. And actually, if I do the overhead, you can see it now. So this is the Stream Deck. And you can program all the keys to do the various things. Basically, it's on a USB connection. It's a cool little thing. So you can, each one of these buttons can have folders in it as well. So my main screen is, this is the scene screen. So I can go between the intro, the main camera, desktop, overhead. And as you can see, overhead is kind of illuminated. You might not be able to see that particularly well at the moment, but anyway, there's also the chat button. If I go up one, so that is, the middle one there is the stream start and stop. So I can start and stop the stream with that one. This one is the party music.
Who's having that on there?
Having what?
The stop and start?
Yeah, probably not. And that is the gold button. So it's got a little thing on there, shows you the waveforms and actually the length of it. You can set these buttons to do tons and tons of things. I'm literally just scratching the surface on it at the moment. But yeah, it is, it's very cool stuff. So yeah, you just go upwards, then you've got the scene, so that's overhead. So if I switch to the main camera, now you see me on the main camera. Switch to overhead, then you can see on the overhead. But yeah, it's good stuff. And obviously, yeah, you can see the desktop. I can go to the intro.
What we do here is go back.
And then back to the main camera. So yeah, it's all, it's very, very easy to use. And once it's set up, it's actually not too bad at all. I did get a little bit confused with it to begin with, but I think I've worked out pretty much most of how it works now. And now that I'm running on this fantastic Windows 11 PC, running the latest, well, not the latest, actually quite old Intel hardware, it seems to be running really well. And I've not dropped a single frame yet, which is very good. CPU is at 2.4%, 30 frames per second. Not bad. And hopefully the stream still looks relatively good quality. It's difficult for me to tell from here. Anyway, let's go back to some of your comments and questions there. Fred Brown says, I have a Blu-ray disc to play movies. I don't think I've actually owned a Blu-ray disc. I've owned the media, because I've got a PlayStation 3 and Actually, what else did we have? We must have had something that played Blu-rays.
I think you used George's PlayStation.
Must have been George's
Did buy
PlayStation.
films.
Xbox doesn't play them, does it? Does the Xbox...
It might now.
Did the
but it
Xbox
didn't
One
then.
play Blu-ray? I don't think it did.
But we did have films because we bought you could only buy 3D ones.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, what do we play them on other than George's PS3?
George's PlayStation.
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we have got some Blu-rays. We did use George's PlayStation to do that. It's one of those things that buying media is a really nice thing to do, and collecting it and getting a nice collection together. But the thing is, digital makes it all so much easier. I know you get that massive loss in quality. Anyone who's streamed content will know, even when you stream in 4K, yes, it is obviously 4K as in the physical pixels, but the bitrate is nowhere near what you'd get from a decent 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, it's totally night and day. Matthew Day says you could have put the hardware IDs into the Microsoft update catalog. I know, but it's just, you shouldn't have to do it. This is a multi-billion-dollar company which are charging us over and above what AMD are charging for motherboards for arguably less performance and less features, and they can't even get the chipset installer to be kind of not even idiot proof, but to be kind of just not that frustrating. I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of people. Actually, let me know now, on your PCs at the moment, if you're on AMD, go to right click on your start flag on your Windows desktop and choose device manager. Go into device manager and tell me if there's any devices with exclamation marks by it. If you're on Intel, I guess there's going to be a much lesser amount of you, but do the same thing. Right click on the start flag, the Windows icon, right click on it, choose device manager, and then look at, oh, it's on that screen now. Have a look, see if there's any devices with exclamation marks by them. I'd be interested to know actually if anyone does run their system with that on.
What is it? Where'd you go?
Right click on the start flag and choose device manager.
I don't know where anything is. Yeah.
And yours won't, because I've installed it all on there.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't none, is there?
There was loads now.
Just checking.
No.
So yeah, there's none on mine. None on CAFs. Absolutely brilliant. Jeff Watson says volume is really low. Is it? Can be. Might be a little bit. Yeah, it seems like it's okay. Put it up a little bit. Anyway, there we go. So, oh, Fred Brown says, Mike, do you have a link to Snappy Driver install? I'm having a hard time finding a safe site. That is one thing which is a massive problem with Snappy Driver installer, because they know that it's something that people are going to say, yes, allow it, admin rights and all that kind of stuff. It's extremely easy for people to do it. Skystalker's in here. I just noticed Skystalker. Hey, Skystalker. He's got no exclamation marks here. Sky. More and more am I getting used to this thing, and it seems to be, yeah, it's coming together slowly but surely. Like Hannibal said in the 18, I love it when a plan comes together, and this plan is starting to come together. All very slow.
It's in this, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Snappy Driver installer, Kath's going to put the link for the video, which has got the links to it as well in the chat. That is a safe one. I have actually checked it recently. Please, 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 if you're going to use Snappy Driver installer, don't just type it into Google, and definitely don't do it into Bing, because the Bing search engine is horrendous. Microsoft, I don't care what you say, whether you want to take my channel down or whatever you want to do, the Bing search engine is basically, it's a sellout. It's Microsoft selling out to the highest bidder. So if you are a purveyor of spyware and you turn around to Microsoft and say, I will pay X amount of money for the #1 spot on the search engine for this particular thing, regardless if it's actually the right link, they will do it because they just want money. They don't care what the links are. They don't care where the links go. They just want the money. So I guarantee, open up a Bing search engine, open up the Microsoft search engine and type in Snappy Driver installer. And I will guarantee you that the first maybe 3 or 4 links will all be to spyware sites. Do exactly the same for CPU Z. Z. I was right first time. Do the same for hardware info. Do it for any of those commonly used things, and I guarantee you the top spot will be something which is not relevant. It's hideous. Even AMD. What was I searched for the other day? I searched for something bizarre, and the top thing was like Argos. It's like, I don't want to buy something. I want to download some freaking drivers. What's wrong with you? Idiots. Bing is just absolute BS. It really is. And the thing is, I actually quite like using Microsoft stuff. But the Bing search engine and the algorithm they use is just hideous. Please, 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 can someone, somewhere at Microsoft, like, punch whoever is in charge in the face. I'm not condoning violence, this is a virtual thing. Unplug their computer and switch Bing for DuckDuckGo or something. Or some other search engine which isn't just littered with the highest bidders, spyware and malware. It's just horrendous. Bing is rubbish. It's like, they don't... do you know what the highest searched item is on Bing? Chrome or Google. That is the highest search engine results on Bing. The top 2 are Chrome and Google, which surely someone at Microsoft should be going, right, okay, so the most searched for things on our search engine is our competitor search engine, so what are we doing wrong? But they're not. They're all just jerking each other off, going, oh, yeah, look at this, oh, look at the news, it looks great, look at the pop-up widgets, aren't they fantastic? We don't care, we just want to search for stuff. If you like money so much, fine, charge more for Windows, but just give us a search engine which actually works and gives us decent results. Unbelievable. Pisses me off. Oh dear. British Noob says, expect a knock from Mr. Gates in about 5 minutes. As I am definitely not going to Mr. Gates' house. I've heard he gives away not nice things. Oh dear.
It's free.
Mr. Mondal, I'm not going to attempt your Christian name because I don't know if I... Suffragette Mondal? If I've messed that up, I do apologise. Is the GPU usage too high on Windows 11 while gaming, like almost 99 to 100%? Well, GPU usage will always be up to 100% depending on what you're doing. If you're playing a game, most games will push a graphics card to 99%. Because you're always going to be bottlenecked by pretty much the system itself. Well, the graphics card is going to be your first bottleneck, because most games engines use the graphics card primarily and throw some of the other stuff onto the CPU. So you're unlikely to get a thing where the CPU is kind of 100% and the graphics card is going to be like 60%. That's a pretty rare thing. It doesn't happen very often, unless you've got a really mismatched system. So I wouldn't say that Windows 11 actually, I always look at the kind of like the what do you mean, press Alt R, the analytics for the graphics cards and stuff, and I've never really noticed either Windows 10 or Windows 11. I've not really noticed any massive difference between the two in terms of GPU usage. In theory, I suppose because Windows 11 supports more features in DirectX 12 Ultra, potentially it could leverage more performance out of the system, but I don't know. Mark Berry says mine's good, no exclamation marks. So good. Hopefully you're all good and you've got no exclamation marks. O'Reilly's, there is an old NAS after which Windows 7 had issues getting drawers. Just an odd way of viewing it. Nothing here. Nike, no flags. Thanks, Fred. V volume is good for me. Okay, good. So yeah, you've got no exclamation marks. You're all good individuals. You have all passed the test. You are worthy of viewing this content. Check him out. British Noob says I have like 3 exclamation marks. So do I lose? Noob.
Oh, noob.
Right. You were a mod on the Discord. I'm really gonna have to look closely at that now. Matthew Day says, oh my god, I've been typing Device Manager for so long. Actually, here's another one for some of you which, if you're using Windows 10 and you don't like the add remove like the apps control panel thing, go down to the start menu or search anywhere like that and just type in appwiz, so appwiz.cpl, and you can have all the Windows 7 goodness back in your add remove programs. It's a wonderful thing. I use it all the time. Nice little things. Actually, we might have to do a compilation video of all those nice little features that are in Windows, which are often not easy to get to, but are quite handy. So yeah, appwiz.cpl is always a good one. I like that at all. Ordinary Dude says dog crap is better than Bing. There you go, Microsoft. Show that to your shareholders at the next AGM.
Still get sponsored, won't they?
Yeah. Mark Barry says I use DuckDuckGo. I'll be honest, I still use Chrome. I've been using Bing the last couple of days on that thing because it's really difficult to actually not use Bing on Windows 11. It's extremely hard. I need to look into it in more detail because I've just looked around the normal places. Like Windows 10, if you want to change the default browser, it's very easy. You go into the control panel, just type in defaults, and it brings up a list of all your default programs for opening various things. So you've got like Paint, Mail for emails, that sort of stuff. You can switch that to Outlook, etc., etc. And there's an easy one there for internet browsing. Just says internet or web or whatever it is, and you've got the option of obviously removing Bing from your lives, or Edge from your lives rather, and just choose Chrome. But that doesn't exist in Windows 11. They've got it split into all these different types of files. So you've got HTML, you've got HTTPS, you've got HTTP, you've got MS-DOT, you've got basically any type of web orientated file, all of them split. So there's about 30 options. So be damned if I'm going to go through that and press all of them and change all of them individually. I'm not going to do that. There must be an easier way, and I will try and find it. Markovsky says advertisers control what you find. He who pays the piper calls the tune. I will go with that. That is very good. Ricardo asks, Mark Barry, several people say DuckDuckGo is better than Google. Is that true? Yeah, DuckDuckGo does appear to be, well, I think DuckDuckGo is basically runs as Chrome stroke Google, and it is kind of slightly compromised, but it just does less tracking. So yeah, it's pretty decent. And there's a £5 super chat from Tristan G. It says, remember, all is recorded anyway, yet only by differing corporate algorithms seeking to pimp your online activity. Swing those hips. Thank you for your $5, Tristan G. Thank you very much.
Question up.
I did. It's there on the screen.
It's not on my phone. It must be waiting. Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Oh dear. I do forget most things. Is that cleared? Yes. Right. Where have I got to click on there again? Yeah. Oh, I'll get used to this one day. Dutch Jan says Windows search uses Bing even though Google is preferred. Yeah, it does. It's just horrendous. Ricardo says Microsoft can buy anything, so buy Google. If you looked, oh God, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole right now.
No, just don't.
If you look and find out who Microsoft are owned by, and who Google are owned by, and Alphabet, you'll work out why that is a thing, why they both exist, and why one hasn't bought the other. I'm not saying any more.
Do your own research.
Do your own research, is all I can say. William Bodie says Windows 10, not Windows 19. That would be good. Mark Berry, Windows 11 for Dummies. We definitely, in fact, if there was a Windows 11 for Dummies book out now, I'd probably buy it. I need it. Fred Brown, Mike, can you make Windows 10, look like Windows 3.1? Yeah, just basically don't install the chipset or graphics drivers. Spy Eraser, how you doing? He says that Mark Berry. I remember America Online, AOL. Yeah, AOL was back in the day. That was a nice little ecosystem.
I think my cousin used to work for AOL.
Yeah, I think so. Ordinary Dude says use Firefox and it overrides all the stupid Microsoft file defaults. I might have to try that. If it does it on Windows 11, I might switch to Firefox. The trouble is I'm very deeply rooted into the Google ecosystem because obviously YouTube channel and all that stuff. Probably could get rid of it, but yeah. Kath wants to get rid of it. Technoclutz says, how can you stop Microsoft Edge from defaulting to Bing homepage when pressing new tab? Microsoft Edge. Right, yeah, you can do that in Microsoft Edge. In the, oh god, where is it? It's in settings, advanced options, search, and it gives you a drop-down box of search engines. You can change it from Bing to Google if you've got Chrome installed, I believe. Matthew Day says, doesn't every browser go make me default? Yeah, not as much as bloody... It used to be that on Windows 10, it would ask, excuse me, it would say to Chrome, like, make this default. Once you clicked OK and set it, it was like, that's okay, it's fine. Every now and then, Microsoft Edge would give you a little bit of saying, Microsoft Edge isn't the default browser, would you like to change it? And then you could stop that as well. Yes. Paolo Sadori says Windows 11 is designed to track you more and send you to right websites. I don't know if that's true. I think a lot of people are of the opinion that Windows 11 has more telemetry. I honestly don't think it does. I think if anything it has less. I'm not in a position to technologically set up a system looking at ingoing and outgoing traffic, but from my initial experiences, especially of what it asks you when it starts up, it does seem like you can opt out of pretty much everything. That is if you're not using a Microsoft account.
So far.
Yeah, so far. Matthew Day says, my keyboard just switched to US. That's one thing I never...
Why did I do that?
I never installed the US layout. When Windows setup's going through, it asks, do you want to add an additional layout? It's like, no. English UK is fine. That's what I am.
But occasionally, mine will switch.
Yeah. Does it?
Occasionally.
Shouldn't do.
Very, very rarely, but where the @ sign is the thing is.
Markovsky says, nothing is ever free. No, there is always a cost for most things.
If it's free, you are the product.
Yeah. O'Reilly has found the Windows for Dummies. Tristan G, back to reality. No Windows 11 upgrade for me. Running AMD system, Windows 10, just fine presently. I did find, because I've been using Windows 11 quite a bit this week, I did find going back to Windows 10 after doing a fresh install of both Windows 11 and Windows 10, it felt like when I went from probably Windows 98 to Windows ME. That would be all the joking aside about the reliability, etc. But the actual look, the feel, and the smoothness. Maybe Windows 2000 would probably be a better example. So yeah, Windows 98 SE is kind of Windows 10, and Windows 2000 is like Windows 11, where it's quite a noticeable jump up in the actual difference. Anyway, I quite like it. Darren says, hi Mike, how you doing, Darren? Someone's talking about Winamp then. Winamp, I used to love Winamp, that was great. Whipping the llama's ass. Ricardo says, still proud to say, still a Winamp user. There were some things in Winamp which were really good, like the plugins.
A little graphic equalizer.
Yeah, the graphic equalizer was really good, and then you could full screen it, couldn't you, for your music? That was great.
Oh, that's a bit freaky there.
Ian W says, I'm still using my AOL email address. There's actually quite a few people that are still using AOL email addresses. Because we get emails obviously like daily from people all around the globe, and also some people are like trying to get in touch. Yeah, surprising how many AOL addresses you still see. Does Windows 11 Explorer slow to open? I don't think so. Let me see actually if I can open that. I'm just seeing if there's anything actually on my system which should not be visible. No, that looks okay-ish, I think. So if we minimise, oh, hang on a mo. Let's clear that, minimise that, and drag that over to there. I wonder if it'll open there now. Yeah, it will. Okay, so this is where there is my desktop. So this is my second desktop. So I've got one. That's my primary. That's my secondary. And if I just click on Explorer, it seems pretty quick. If I go to old content, this is on a NAS, so this is going to take ages because the drives have probably all gone into sleep mode. Yeah, they have, definitely. Not a great example, but this will wake the drives up so then I can close it and then go back into them and then see what it's like. Come on, anytime today. Wakey, wakey NAS. The sound of a NAS waking up is never pretty. All 4 drives spinning up one after the other. Ah, there we go. So let's close that down now. So yeah, we'll go into Explorer, old content. Yeah, it seems pretty snappy. Now this isn't the fastest processor. It's the 10600. It's not the K. It's not the F. It's just the stock 10600. It's not a particularly quick processor, but yeah, does pretty well. What's in there? I don't think there's anything in there particularly. No, that's fine. So this is looking at stuff on my NAS network. It's absolutely fine. Windows drive. Yeah, it's all seems pretty nippy. So let's go back to main. Let's open up my Windows again. Boosh. Actually, one thing I always say that, I don't know why I've started doing that a lot recently. I keep on saying the one thing and then I say another, and there's like about 3 or 4 things and I say the same about all of them. The one thing I like, it's annoying me. It must be annoying the shit out of you lot. Oh dear. Anyway, moving on. Yes, I do like the way that the Windows minimize, maximize, close, etc. works. It works actually really, really nicely. If you roll your mouse over the maximize button, you get 6 options. Yeah, it's getting a bit warm, isn't it? 6 options, so you can split the screen in half. So you can have a tab on each side. You can set 2/3 to 1/3. You can have 3 panes. Yeah, there's various options there. That I really like because I use a single monitor for my normal daily driver for editing. So it's really nice just to click on those and just boom, straight over to the left-hand side. It makes moving windows around a lot easier. So I like that personally. Yes, Kath? Nick Barnes. Question. If in Windows 11 you right click on the Windows symbol, I find Device Manager doesn't respond but others do. How odd. Let's try that. Device Manager. Has responded, but it's on the other window. So it's on the window behind me. That seems to be okay. Cameras, USB video. Yeah, everything seems to be there. I like it. It does seem to be quite nippy. It's all right. Very strange. There was a Windows update Thursday or Friday, so you might want to update your Windows 11. It doesn't seem to want to do it all the time straight away, so you might have to manually do it. Kiwasabi says, thank you for showing us the File Explorer. It's no problem. Christopher Butt says, got some 3600 RAM, crashes every time I turn on XMP. Tell us a little bit more about the system. It'd be interesting to know what, if you're on a B450 or X470 motherboard, that might be why. I've often found 3600 RAM, although technically it does work, but often the traces on the motherboards aren't really designed for that kind of frequency, even though technically they will do it. And I guess the processor as well will come into it to some extent. Tonino says, I'm using Google Chrome and Edge Chrome. Yeah, sorry, when I was saying Bing and the Microsoft browser, that is essentially what I was kind of referring to, Edge Chrome, Chrome Edge, whatever. Tristan G says, I have a concern regarding AMD systems on Windows 11. It appears there is a system compromises AMD CPUs by about 15 to 25%. So how have you actually validated that? I'm interested to see, because I've not noticed it on either system so far. But when I was streaming on air, it didn't seem to be noticeably slower. And actually, I'd have to look back. I don't think in any of the benchmarks I ran that there was any obvious noticeable difference. So how are you measuring that deficit? Is it through frame rates or benchmarks, or how are you actually validating that? I'd be interested to know, and it may be something I can try and replicate. Nice one, Tristan G. Hugh Latchell says, try Zorin 16. Might get to that point at some point. Phil Black, yeah, let's put the God mode one. Does anybody still use this one? Create a folder and name it as above. Yeah, that might be more and more necessary actually now that Windows 11's out, because of some of those things not being easily accessible. Markovsky says basically, yeah, same as what I said. If the board's a B450, it's dodgy to run 3600. Yeah, it is not ideal. Did they say it was a B450 board? Was that confirmed? I didn't see it. No. And let's just say, several YouTube tech sites have done benchmarks that show some games are slower on AMD systems. Yeah, that's down to the level 3 cache latency. So that is going to be more apparent in some things. Games, I guess, more so. I suppose as well, it depends on what system you've got. If you've got a really good graphics card, then that is going to compound it, because your graphics card is going to be waiting for instructions. Whereas if you're on a more modest graphics card and you're on a kind of mid-range CPU, because the graphics card is probably doing the most of the work anyway, and you're on a lower frame rate, lower refresh, possibly a lower resolution, there isn't going to be that huge demand for data as quick. So I guess it's going to be one of those things that, obviously the elite level systems are going to experience it, but I think for most normal people in the real world who can't buy graphics cards, or maybe you're on something like a 2060 or something like 1660, those kind of super popular cards, I guess you're gonna, yeah. George Sonaev says, if my motherboard does not officially support Windows 11, is there any chance of still installing the drivers? If it's an AMD system, yeah. Yeah. Depends how old the motherboard is what I would say, really. But yeah, it's quite likely. Tristan G. All right, awesome, thank you. Matthew J says, one solid measure I've seen in a review was level 3 cache latency. Okay, but yeah, they've shown cache latency. I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's right, but yeah, I think it's going to, a lot of it is being blown up out of proportion, in my opinion. And obviously, if you're looking at the people that are doing those reviews, it's people that have got 3080s, 3090s, 5950s, all those kinds of super, almost out of reach components for the majority of people. In which case, if there is any obvious cache latency, then that is going to show up, and it's magnified. The faster the system, the more that latency is going to show itself. Whereas, like I said, for most normal, regular people on modest systems, I don't think it's going to be so much of a problem. Certainly, I've not noticed it, and I know that a few people on Discord that we've been chatting to have said that they've not really noticed anything either. No one's specifically said, yeah, my system seems to be running like a dog. And also, if you think about it, even if your system is 10% faster, if you're running at 200 frames per second and you're down to 180, are you really going to notice that? honestly, probably not. You might notice lag spikes if they are going to be happening, but I think most people, yeah, it's probably one of those things that a lot of people, it's always going to be that thing. Whenever there's something new out in the market, there's always going to be the people out there that are like, I don't like change, and there'll be people looking for reasons not to do it. And something like this coming out here, Kath's one of those. And things like this are just like, oh yeah, I'm not going to install Windows 11 because my system will be a little bit slower. Well, yeah, potentially it will be. Look at what happened with Spectre and Meltdown. That was on Windows 10, and because they found a problem, they put a patch in and it slowed people's systems down by probably a similar amount because of a similar sort of thing. So it does happen. It's not unusual. It's just, yeah, the timing of it isn't particularly great. But yeah, it could, if it is just a bug and it is fixed, if they fix the bug and then it becomes as good or better, will people then be saying, oh yeah, I'm going to upgrade to Windows 11 because it's faster? Probably not. And will it make news headlines? Probably not.
Will you go do that giveaway?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Lucky Pete says, if hardware info is showing my RAM at 1800 megahertz, does that mean it's actually 36 in dual channel? Yes, well, it doesn't necessarily mean dual channel, but DDR RAM means double data rate. So your reported speed 1800, you double it because it's DDR2 or because DDR. So yeah, that is how you do it. Although it doesn't always work in every system. So some BIOSes will show your RAM is running at 2133 or 2400 because that is its DDR speed, the double data rate, when in effect it's actually running at 1200 or 1333. Or, no, 1200 or whatever the one is before that, 1066. Let's do some quick mathematics then. That hurt. Markovsky says, as in life, a balanced system is favourite. Couldn't agree more. Cressor, but right, yeah, MSI B450 Ryzen 2700, yeah. So the Ryzen 2700, the sweet spot for RAM on that is DDR4 3200, and the sweet spot for that particular motherboard as well is, well, for all B450s really is DDR4 3200. So putting 3600 is asking quite a lot of the memory controller on the 2700, and possibly asking a bit much of the motherboard, to be honest with you. But there you go. Wild Bill says, on my Ryzen 7 3700X and R23 test, I got 11949. I take photos, and after installing Windows 11 over Windows 10, I tested today and got 12502, about a 5% increase. No other change other than the Windows 11 install. To be honest, that's what I was experiencing with my Intel system. It seemed to get faster, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. Dutch Jan says, Jay has a topic about AMD, 15% less. I think, yeah, again, Jay's 2 cents, he's not known for using mid-range components, so that is going to be exacerbated by those high-end components, definitely. Ricardo says, it seems Microsoft does forget that not everyone has an Intel CPU on their systems, and AMD have more market share in these 4 years than ever. That is true. They have increased their market share, but they don't have anywhere near the market share in the kind of the overall scheme of things that Intel have. I think Intel have got something like 70% of the market share at a kind of a rough guess. And of that, obviously, the mainstream market, or what I would refer to as like us, the enthusiasts and kind of DIYers and that stuff, the percentage of that is tiny. Really, it's like 10% of the overall market. So AMD are fighting Intel over like a very, very small scrap of the kind of the chip pie, whereas Intel have got chips in pretty much anything and everything. Chipsets mostly. Bastards. Thighs. Thies says hi. How you doing, Thies? JX Jammy says
a little bit more than that. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
One above.
I'll have to do this one now. I've clicked on it. I've clicked, so I'll start. I can't finish. No, that's the wrong thing. I can't stand Windows 11 anymore, but I'm not sure how to go back to Windows 10 without losing my files, and I can't go back as I deleted the Windows 10 save. Oh dear. GX Jammy, I would say if you don't want to lose data and you don't want to back up all your stuff, just write it out. You will get used to it. I've been using it now for probably, what, 4 months? When did it come out? August, was it? Yeah, about 4 months. And it did take a while. And there's still things actually that I struggle to find, as I said earlier in the stream. So my advice would be just stick with it. You will get used to it. You'll hate it. And we all did the same. When we went from Windows 7 to Windows 10, or from Windows 8. Oh, hated Windows 8. It's always that thing, it's like, oh God. But you do get used to it. Or eventually things change. Or you can download something like the Windows 10 lookalike thing. So you can install that on Windows 11 and make it look like Windows 10. You could always do that.
Go up a bit. Buy
These. I think.
Do I need the new beta BIOS for Windows 11 on the B550M VDH?
You don't need the beta BIOS. Thies is asking, do I need the new beta BIOS on Windows 11 for B550M VDH? You don't necessarily need it, but if you install the new beta BIOS, it will, from what I can tell, it will update things like TPM, it will turn that on, it will turn on secure boot as well. So depending on what you're doing, if you're upgrading and you've got hard drives which are MBR format, then you won't be able to see those after. So you need to convert those to GPT first of all. So just make sure you've got all those things in place. Yeah, you don't need to update is what I'm really... The question you're asking, do I need to? No, you don't. And actually, there is something which I've forgotten to do, which I will do now.
Kaiser Solo.
Yes.
B550
Oh.
UEFI, worth it for 142. I think that's maybe second hand for Amazon.
Seems a bit on the expensive side, but I'm not too sure. Now, one thing, I've said it again now. Kaiser Solo, I'll answer that, sorry. Mike B450 UEFI, worth it for 142 quid. Second hand, is that on Amazon? Or hand? I'm not sure what that other bit is. The B550 UEFI is a very handsome board. Whether or not it's worth the extra over the Gaming Plus, or even the what's the one I got? Got both, haven't I? The Gaming Edge Wi-Fi. The Gaming Edge Wi-Fi for me, I think, is the one that is the most sensible value for money. Depends on the price difference. If it's second hand, I would really want to pay 140 for it new, to be honest. Just saying. I should also mention we did offer a giveaway of earphones, and we did actually do the draw earlier on in the day, which Kath keeps on nudging me and saying, Mike, you haven't told them about the giveaway. So originally in the video I did say there's only one set, but because I've got 2 sets and I'm not really going to use them, so Kath and I have decided there's going to be 2 winners, which Kath has written down up there. So the first winner is Paul Bakewell. So congrats, Paul Bakewell. You have won yourself a set of MPOW H12 IPO ANC wireless headphones. Congrats to you. And there is another set as well, which were donated by Ugly Bob. Thank you, Ugly Bob. And those will be going to Eddie Burns. So Eddie Burns and Paul Bakewell, have a party on us. And we will be emailing you. The giveaway was one of those things in the video, so we did leave it towards the end of the video. We did mention it. So if you want to be involved in the giveaways, got to watch the videos. We're not going to make it too easy for you. We've got to make it work out for ourselves. So anyway, let's get out of the way. So there will be 2 sets of active noise cancelling headphones winging their way to you guys very shortly. Kath will send you emails and get all your details, etc, etc.
Won't be till late tomorrow, probably.
It'll be late tomorrow, probably.
Johnny G asks, joining late, so sorry if I missed it, but is Windows 11 an optional free upgrade, or how much does it cost?
Alright, yeah, Johnny G, joining late, if you haven't heard of what Kath said then. Missed it. Is Windows 11 optional free upgrade? Yes, it is. It is an optional free upgrade. You can also install it directly as a fresh installation without activation. It will run pretty much indefinitely without activation if you wanted to. That is an option, as it was with Windows 10. Or alternately, if you want to, you can save yourself some money You can also help out the channel as well, and you can hop over to premiumcdkeys.com/mikesunboxing, and you can buy yourself a Windows 7, a Windows 8, or a Windows 10 license key, all of which will activate Windows 11 fresh installations. As mentioned in the video on Friday, which actually a lot of you watched, so thank you all for that. We do appreciate it.
It's cheaper than Windows 11.
Yes, they do offer, Premium CD Keys do offer a Windows 11 key. Now I have had a discussion with them about this, because I looked on their site and I was like, well, why are they selling a Windows 11 key for more money, essentially? And they have come back to me and they did say there are 2, maybe 3 reasons why that is a thing. The first one was for simplicity, because customers were coming to them and saying, what key do I need? So rather than them saying, well, you can use any one, really, essentially, pretty much most of them will work, they've had to put separate categories. Now also, when they came to buy the actual keys from Microsoft, Microsoft themselves were actually charging more for Windows 11 keys than they were for Windows 10 keys. Who would have thought? So obviously, being a company, they are there to make money. Not a lot of money, obviously, because they're quite cheap keys, but they're there to make money, not lose money. So they can't sell the Windows 11 keys for the same price as Windows 10 keys, much like they can't sell the Windows 10 keys for the same price as Windows 8 keys and Windows 7 keys. Although, in theory, if you wanted to and you know what you're doing and you don't mind taking a risk, you can just buy a Windows 7 key or 8 or whatever, and it will activate Windows 11. So I did touch over, did I mention that in the video? I did, didn't I? Yeah, if you're not sure how all that works, you can watch the video that we released on Friday, and it goes through all the details on that. So if you're not too sure, it's a bit fuzzy or whatever, you can check that out. Markovsky says, well done guys, the battery life on the MPOW stuff is amazing. They are good actually. Kimosabi says, congrats to the winners, no worries. Glenn's with us, how you doing Glenn? And Ed is in the chat and says, thank you very much, no problem. It's always nice to have someone who's actually in the chat. Actually, is Paul Bakewell in the chat?
Yeah, I don't think he is anymore.
He's probably passed out.
If they want to save time, they can just send me their addresses.
Yeah, if you want to save time, Kath's got your email addresses, so she can verify that it is you if you send your details.
Postal name and address.
Postal name and address, ideally a telephone number, mobile number, so Royal Mail can message you and say your parcel's on its way, here's the tracking number, that kind of stuff. Darren says, I missed the giveaway again, damn it, lol. No worries. There is gonna be a load of giveaways coming up as we're heading towards the holiday season. We're gonna be trying to do a lot more. For no other reason than, obviously, Ugly Bob has been absolutely fantastic to us through the year. He's been sending us so much stuff that realistically, Kath and I, we both feel kind of slightly guilty of having all this stuff around us which we kind of don't use to its full extent, and would be probably much better in the hands of some of you guys out there, so you actually make use of it as daily drivers and stuff, or maybe upgrade your stuff. So we are going to be giving away loads of stuff, like literally loads of stuff. So if you want to be involved in that, you obviously need to watch the videos so you'll be informed of what's being given away, etc. We will be doing it on our Discord as well, because that for us is a little bit easier to manage, and they will be in our Discord chat, so you can go into the giveaway section and we will try and lift some of the stuff in there. But we are going to be kind of prioritizing the giveaways into actual videos, so that you guys and girls out there that are regulars and you're watching the videos, you're going on there daily, you're clicking on the comments, you're clicking on the like button and all that stuff, and you're interacting. You are the people that we want to be looking after and essentially giving stuff to, and giving a little bit something back, because obviously we appreciate you all watching and being part of our community. So what better to do than give you something which you can actually use? Makes a lot of sense. So yes, there will be lots more giveaways in the coming months. Obviously, for those of you living in countries outside of United Kingdom, due to customs and transportation, etc., things may take a little bit longer. You may potentially incur local taxes where you live. So yeah, obviously do bear that stuff in mind. Obviously in the UK it's going to be absolutely fine, but anyone outside the UK, our beloved viewers in Europe, in North America, South America, all that, well, basically anywhere else.
Yeah, I've had it where it's taken,
it can take ages to get to, is what I'm saying, and it could potentially cost you local taxes. So yeah, do bear that in mind. Markovsky says, the good thing is you probably know about the stuff they give away because Mike's probably done a video on it. That's right, exactly. Exactly that. William Bodie says, the only thing I want to win is a Mike's Unboxing pen. Oh, bless. Have you not been sent one of those?
Email us his address, we'll send one.
William, I'm sure we sent you one of those.
We haven't sent anything back to William because we haven't got his address, have we?
Oh, yeah. Good
So
point.
if he emails us his
William,
address, we'll get
send
one.
us your email address. No, we know your email address. Send us your postal details and of course we'll get you one of those sent out. Well, Bill says, I'm off now. Thanks for the entertaining evening. Why, what were you watching? We'll watch the end bit on a replay later. Take care, remember, fight the lies, avoid mass media and distress the government. That sounds like, what's his name? Old man in a chair. What's his name? Old man in a chair?
Vernon Coleman.
Dr. Vernon Coleman. That sounds like Vernon Coleman. Rosen213 says, evening Mike, just tuning in. How you doing, Rosen213? What time is it? Oh God. 11 o'clock. Oh, that's when I normally stop. Anyway, I'll carry on briefly. I did promise at the beginning that I would show you inside this little ITX box, and so far I've failed miserably, so I'm going to open this up now so you can see what it's like inside. Just a brief little snippet so you can get an idea of what the videos... There is going to be a full video on this so you can check it out anyway. So let's go to scenes and go to overhead, and hopefully that is somewhat visible.
Oh, sorry.
So one screw to rule them all. This is a little bit tight, he says. Actually, there's a tag on there. That's me. There's a plastic tag on there which kind of locks it into place. But you can see how compact that is. I'm going to put the other light on actually so you can see a bit better. So we are talking compact. And let me zoom in a little. Is that still in focus? Yeah, that's close enough. So what have we got? We have got two USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports. I had to think about it then. Headphone jack, microphone jack, power button over this side. Got this nice kind of steel, I think it's aluminium, but it's bloody heavy. Is that still in focus? I've zoomed in too much. No, I'm good. So we've got the RAM in there. That's the thermal take RAM, the tough RAM, which shows up actually really, really nice in there. Looks nice when it comes through the side. I won't power it up because it's got windows and stuff on there anyway. It's a pain to show you all running without having another monitor. Got the noctua cooler on there, so that's the NH, I always forget the name of this one, NHU 9S, I think, or I. Anyway, Ryzen 5 5600G, ASRock board, so it's the B550, B550M ITX-AC. I always struggle to remember that one. 200 watt power supply, supplied by Inwin themselves, so that's a 200 watt gold rated power supply. Very quiet. Now, obviously, because of the size of it, you can't put any fans in here. So what they've done is, you've got a little bit of ventilation on the back. Cheers, George. You've got this top section here, which is all ventilation. So if you look at it, because it's a downdraft cooler, that's going to be spinning and basically pushing the hot air around the VRM and then out through the top there. And obviously the intake on the top is all mesh. It's not a particularly open mesh, if I'm honest, but that is going to be good for stopping some dust, I guess. Some of the larger particles. I would have liked to have seen that been a finer mesh, or a larger mesh rather. That would have been beneficial, I think. But the airflow is still good. Having this side panel on, and having the system on full load, then taking the side panel off, was like 1 degree difference in temperatures. So there isn't really much difference about having the side panel on or off. Obviously it looks considerably better. So that is that side. Very simple, very straightforward. And, oh come on, lock in. What have I not done here? Is that in? Is that in, she said? What have I done now? I've stuck the panel now. Oh, for flip's sake. Ah, there we go. What was that stuck on? This panel does stay on very, very well. I think that's that bit there. We've bent that bit down. Oh, the line cooler. Let's make that bit a bit bigger. I think I must have put a bit of pressure on that at some point, accidentally. Just open those up a little bit. That should make it a bit easier. Or is it those ones at the front? There we go. Much better. Happy days.
Markovsky butchered a stealth cooler to go in desk.
Yeah, I had to do exactly the same thing in here. I really did. Absolutely butchered it. So this is the other side. Again, I'd like to have seen some feet on this. For my particular use, it would have been great. So on this side, you've got room in there. You can actually, there's a cable management hole there. So you can run through SATA cables, which they do supply as well. And also you can store some other cables there if you wanted to. You put a 2.5-inch drive in there. There's just a little screw. So undo the screw, push this bit down, and that slides out. So if you want to, you could take the whole thing out. Potentially you might even get, actually I wonder if you could, I wonder if you can get a 3.5-inch drive in there. I don't think you could, no. It's a shame it isn't a little bit wider actually, so you could put a 3.5-inch drive in there. I think that would have been a good idea. Although they are becoming less and less used, I suppose. So yeah, you put one drive in that top section, and obviously there's a drive in that bottom section. There is also another little rail towards the front, which I don't really understand what is all about. So yeah, I don't really get it. Let me take this out. So pull that out. Oh, is there another screw? There we go. So that comes out, but there's another little hole there for something. I can't work out what it's for. There's holes on the side. Don't know. It doesn't say anything in the instruction manual. But anyway, there you go. Surprisingly, I did actually a thermal test on this as well in this particular box, and also in the InWin B1, which is the kind of slightly bigger version of this, the one that looks like a bread bin, as Seema Knight gets great pleasure in telling me. And actually, I was quite impressed that the B1 actually did pretty well comparatively to this. There was only, again, a 1 degree difference between the two, which surprised me because the 5600G actually does run quite toasty. Kieran Atkinson is become a supporter. Thank you, Kieran Atkinson. Have some gold. I don't know if that works on there. Does that work? I don't know. I'm bad at my job. So anyway, yeah, in terms of a very, very small form factor PC, which actually isn't much bigger than a ITX motherboard backplate, take into consideration that is the bigger bit of it there, not bad. And surprisingly, the price is particularly good at the moment. From what we can tell, it looks like this is going to be about $120, maybe $150. So actually not too bad. Let's zoom that back out. So yeah, if you want a nice little PC with a little bit of bling to it, it's a shame I can't get it to stand up in the unit I'm going to use it in. It would look nice on a little desk somewhere. I really must sort out my life and have a proper desk to do all this stuff on. Look at, in comparison, it does make the Nokia 3210 look particularly tiny. What on earth is that?
Socks.
Kath's looking at cat socks. That is the end of the world.
What? That's so cute. Anti-slip.
So there we go. That is the InWin Chopin Pro, which yeah, there'll be a full video coming out on that very shortly. So yeah, good stuff. I like it. It's a bit big for a vessel mount, lol. Yeah, you're not wrong there. I could agree with that. Alright, Ordinary Dude says that tray was originally for a slim optical disk drive and the front mount was for an optical OEM card reader. An older model that has a different front bezel. Ah, that's interesting. Thank you. Darren says, Mike, should I buy a Corsair 700 watt power supply for £10? Should I buy a Corsair 700 watt power supply for a £10 and the one in my PC is 400 watt? I have no problem getting into clean it. I don't understand that question. If you're saying, should I buy a Corsair 700 watt power supply for a tenner? Yeah, of course. Kieran Atkinson saying, oh, what's that? Oh yeah, seen that John's Bow Jellyfish AIO in the bargains chat for around £60. I did see that. I did see that. I was tempted. If you've not seen it already, if you go over to our Discord, look in the bargain section, and you'll see there is a John's Bow 360mm AIO cooler with an RGB pump head for £53 plus postage, I think it is, or £49.99 plus postage. Cheers, Welly Bob. See you later. And yeah, I was tempted to do so, but it was like, I've got two 360mm rads here. I've got another one on the way from Arctic. Do I need a third one? But Arctic seems to be struggling with stock, so I might have to go down the Jones Bow route. Maybe I can get it to fit in that case that I was looking at doing, so that'll be good. Eddie has just become a supporter. Thank you for becoming a supporter, Eddie. Have some gold, my friend. Thank you very much. Welcome to the fam. Oh, am I allowed to say fam? I think I'm too old for that. Kieran says, I've had the 240mm version before. Amazing little cooler, I miss it. Yeah, I was tempted. I was tempted. The Freckle Puny says, hi there, how you doing?
Rolly's off.
Night, Rolly. Need to get your sleep. Yeah, I'm supposed to be going to work tomorrow. Sod that.
He's attending anyway.
I'm attending. I'll show up. I'll stand at the till.
And the first words out of his mouth will be...
Yeah, the first words that will come out of my gob will be, is it time to go home yet? I normally try and say that before 10 o'clock. I start work at 10 o'clock and I normally try and say at least at 9:57, is it time to go home yet? That starts the day off with the right frame of mind.
And it gets so many people's backs up.
It does get people, it does piss people off. I suggest all Mike's Unboxing followers, when you go to work next, look at your watch when you start your shift and just say, is it time to go home yet? See how many people you can annoy by doing it. Works really well for me. I used to work at the BBC until that happened. Darren says it's a second-hand mic, 700 watt for 10 quid. Yeah, if it works, buy it. You could flip that quite easily. Right, I think I should wrap things up now. We've gone way too long anyway, like I said, and we've gone, well, it's quarter of an hour past. That's not too bad. Could be a lot worse. We've packed in a lot of stuff. We've answered a lot of questions.
Lord Erectus.
I don't want to upset Lord Erectus for going over time because he'll get upset and start cussing in the chat. The opposite. Kieran Atkins says, sod it, I'm going to order one. Always good to have a backup. You can never have enough 360mm AIOs. That is, unless you've got a Colink Unity Codex case, because you can't fit them all in there.
Before we go, F in the chat for Lord Erectus.
Why?
Just because he always watches every week, doesn't he?
No, I'm not going to do that. Mark Points says, good show, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a difficult one. My throat is... There you are. Anyway, Aletta says, thanks, Mike and everyone. Catch you next time. Need to eat dinner. Yeah, we need to get sleep. Glenn says, good night. And I think we will as well. So, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. And hopefully this will work.